I definitely think they've shown a lot of momentum coming into this last game, but I still think Wish has the slight edge.
Okay, let's go to game number 5 here. Figure out the battleground our teams will be fighting on. Remember, this is match point. Winner will go on to face off against Trick Esport tomorrow. And here it is. Team Wish moves into Infernal Shrines for the choice.
Yeah, takes the map choice here after they just lost, so first pick goes over to Liquid now. And Infernal Shrines is definitely going to become extremely interesting right now. Last map, of course, a lot of pressure here on both teams, and especially from a draft perspective, this should be a very interesting game.
Yeah, there's a few ways you can approach this map gameplay-wise. More macro-oriented style of play where you don't put a high priority on the first couple objectives and just pressure on the map. But then alternatively, we could see a game where both teams try that team fighting shrine-focused strategy, and we might get an explosive game on our hands.
This is a battleground also where Zarmany can really excel. Both of his picks that we see pretty often, well, all three of them that he picks up, the Dahaka, Sonya, and Malthael, are wonderful in this battleground for multiple reasons.
Yeah, we haven't seen Sonya at all from him in this particular match now, so that's something that they could bring out on the last map. For me, it's going to be interesting to see how Team Liquid approaches it here, since I feel they are going to be under quite a lot of pressure for now, for sure. Because, as we saw before, in most of those really team fight heavy games, we've seen Team Wish excel. You've been highlighting that a bit, Glorong. And I would agree on that for sure. So they need to be careful how they draft this now. The macro game is something where they normally excel. If they can force that on their opponent, that would be great. And we already have Team Liquid banning out ETC, which means that if they pick up an early Dahaka, they would at least hold the global.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think Team Liquid is a team with enough experience to not be, you know, under the same amount of pressure, or they're better at handling the pressure due to their experience of the Game 5 scenario.
Yeah.
I definitely think Team Liquid, we're going to see them regain composure and sort of stay focused. They went with the Vikings last game, but Infernal Shrines isn't really a map. I don't know. Do they play Vikings on this map ever?
No, usually not.
Usually no?
I mean, we have seen, it's been a long time where we have seen Vikings in Europe in any successful setup. So Vikings is normally something that we don't see here.
Okay, so from Team Liquid's perspective of comforts, we could see maybe Nurakon, Avala, or Lunara this game?
Yeah, definitely. But right now we already have the Haka taken. That's exactly what I said when ETC was banned out.
Yeah.
You have the Abathur ban on the other side, and now you hold the global that you can run. Now, you mentioned Malthael, for example, and Zarmany has been playing him a lot. On a lane against Dahaka, he traditionally wins the matchup. So that's something where I'm actually curious to see if at some point Team Liquid says that after they already lost twice against him, if they are willing to even ban him out.
Ooh, this is the first time we've seen him in gameplay. Genji coming out with the Uther. D-Shield Dragonblade is like obviously super strong here, but also one thing that Genji provides, he can provide a lot of split pressure on the Dahaka. If they end up going with the Malthael route later, then the Dahaka is suddenly not going to be able to get that split map pressure that he'd otherwise want due to the pressure of the Genji and the Malthael.
So with Uther and Genji now for the first time here, I mean, so far every single time Uther was denied to the Genji team, but now let's see how exactly Liquid is gonna run. I have to admit, I'm super curious to see what kind of draft they're playing. They are very known for the double support. They love to play with a Vala for auto attack damage, multi-shot hybrid build on this map, a little bit of a higher priority. But with them boot camping this much and really preparing for every single eventuality, I really want to see how they adjusted it. Do we, for example, see Gul'dan again, which they've already shown on Tomb? They like to play that as well. So
they leave the draft very open-ended. I like this, that they do decide to prioritize the Anubarak. It has a very good matchup into Genji in regards to the Cocoon. But also, from this position, Team Liquid can go into double backline. Could still theoretically go into a double. I don't really like the double support from this perspective. We could also see one more melee, like a Malthael on Team Liquid side of things. I don't know. I expect double ranged from Team Liquid at this point in the draft.
Why don't you like the double support, just for viewers at home?
Honestly, the biggest reason why I don't love the double support from Team Liquid's perspective is they just would lack a lot of damage, I think. I don't think Anubarak's the best tank in double support simply because he adds a lot of control and utility, but not a lot of damage and tankiness, and other tanks do that a little bit better in the double support scenarios.
One hero that we haven't even mentioned, which could also work out quite well for Team Wish, is this is Leoric's best map right now. So for Zarmany, that would be another pick that he can go for. If they want to highlight the team fights in particular, then they can definitely try and run that. Lucio banned out just because of the utility that he gives, but once more, if Team Liquid chooses Lucio, then they are very low on the damage output. I must admit, I like the Vala hover a lot more that they showed here. Banning out Vala, I think, would have been a good choice for them.
The Lucio, from my perspective, the reason why they may have banned it out, a lot of people are saying break it down as a pseudo counter to ults like Tormented Souls or Dragon Blade.
Yeah.
So suddenly, if you're able to get that double support with Lucio, it doesn't matter quite as much that they have the Uther Genji, because you can just sit there and tank the Dragon Blade and everything will be okay. So it does make sense why they'd want to ban that out. It gives the Uther Genji more value, but I also agree that leaving Vala up definitely pressures Wish into either picking it or letting it through to Team Liquid. Yeah. The Malthael ban makes a lot of sense, kind of like what I was saying earlier. It just puts so much pressure on Dahaka, and then in team fights, it just generates a lot of threat too. Malthael is one of the best all-rounded offlaners, I'd say.
I mean, you have a map already where every single, like, later on in the game, you have so many 5 versus 5 fights on a very narrow space. So that makes perfect sense to go for a ban on Malthael, considering how much of an issue that was earlier.
I like this, though. I love the Diablo pick here.
Yeah, Team Wish looking to actually take the fights and force them upon Team Liquid here. The Diablo allows that, especially with that doubles do. You control the map way too well.
I mean, we've seen it. Like, the biggest thing that comes to my mind at the Western Clash, Breeze and Schwimpy put on a showcase of how Diablo and Genji synergize. Like, APOC plus Diablo's kit in general creates a lot of space and gives Genji a lot of opportunity to punish positional errors. So I really like that they decide to go with that synergy, and picking up the Greymane too with Cocktail built here will be a really good shrine clear for them.
Curious at what Team Liquid's going to get. They're going to need some damage here. The more I look at this, the more I don't mind the gold dam, but I am worried that with the Diablo, Genji going to the back line, he'll get evaporated quickly. So maybe someone a little bit more safe is in order.
Yeah, honestly, this is a tough situation for Team Liquid. To pick up a ranged, not many ranged heroes have great matchups into what Team Wish currently has drafted. We could see the Vala, but that's a lot of pressure on the Vala. Like, Vala double support is something Team Liquid could go into. A Vala Oriole here. Cassia. Kerosene. So they still kind of go with the ranged support style, but different ranged is all. Good against the Greymane for sure, and a lot of damage output for Genji. The Cassia makes sense from my perspective.
I was actually wondering a bit earlier, we haven't really seen that a lot in the past, but Medivh on their side? Traditionally, you would expect Zarmany right now with a second frontliner. You would expect him to go either into Sonya or go into Leoric. Those were the traditional 2 setups that they had.
If we got the Medivh, I could see him on the Greymane for that top lane. Wouldn't do too bad against Dahaka. I mean, he would have to play really safe.
It changes the roles. So that's the biggest thing for me. The reason why Medivh, why I approach that pick with some hesitation is primarily because it shifts the role from Greymane being able to pressure camps and the objective. He suddenly has to pressure waves mid and top, like the off lane essentially. Transitions. It could be the Genji as well in the off lane. I don't know if I'll see the Medivh. The Medivh could be really good, and it would be phenomenal in team fights. Amazing against Cassia and things like that, but it would be a little bit odd, I'd say. Yeah, Leo is the safe off laner where they can just catch double soak and commit to the shrine is for.
Yeah, that's the safe option that we talked about. And again, it's his best map for sure, with the new build going into Ominous Wrath and then Royal Focus of the 13, so you expect Leo here. Also, there's a lot of melee on the side of their opponents. You get a lot of consume vitality as your level 1 talent, just skeleton swing in general.
Yeah, honestly,
and 20 is
I'm excited to see
sick.
Wish's draft though. Like, this is the first time we've seen Genji in this set, and I love every time they get their hands on that hero. They always like, even the games that they've lost with Genji, they make some flashy plays.
Genji's fun to watch, that's for sure. Maybe not playing against, but he's fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that Leoric is going to be brutal in these fights if played correctly, because you have the value alone that you get out of March is insane in this setup. And if you hit your 20, I mean, that's going to be really sick. So in team fights, there's a lot of potential for them. But we have seen that Cassia play on the side of, I think, Nurok earlier.
Yeah, a little bit of an unconventional talent build, too, in that game. But it worked out for them. I mean, the Cassia looked phenomenal on that tower.
Yeah, exactly.
Match. So, you know, I actually feel like Team Liquid's pretty comfortable with where they're at in the draft.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about it here. Game 5. Who goes on to face Trick Esport tomorrow? Caldor, you first.
I think it's going to be a really close one for sure. Overall, looking at this, I think Wish can pull it off.
For me, my heart says Wish, my head says Liquid. So I'm going to go with Liquid.
I think I'm on the Liquid camp too here. The Cassia in game number 1 paid off way better than I thought it would. The poke build being very effective. But if Team Wish can come in and be control-oriented with that Diablo, I can see where they work out too. You're right. It feels like it's going to be a really close matchup between these two.
It's a toss-up. It's really a coin toss for me right now.
It's hard to pick.
From an experience perspective, I would say, again, Liquid should be the one coming into this with a cooler head, because we have seen a lot of improvement on the side of Wish, but at the same time, there is so much pressure on them, and they have a couple of players that in the past have been very vulnerable to pressure and show nerves.
Again, the burden of execution is on them as well.
So that's another point, exactly. So they really impressed in most of these games and throughout the entire phase. It's going to be close one way.
Oh, Infernal Shrines is a battleground. It's time here to figure out who will go on to tomorrow and who falls out. It's Game 5 here on Infernal Shrines. Team Liquid taking on Team Wish.
Game number 5, it all comes down to Infernal Shrines as we head into our last game of the series. Grand Paquete for Team Wish, Onutha, Mopsio at that front line with a main tank choice. Diablo, Poik on Greymane, Zarmani on the solo laner. He plays Leoric, and Shat on Genji.
On the right side in the red, Team Liquid. Splendor will be playing Rhaegar. Gonna have Blumby playing your Nubrak. Look out for those cocoons, especially on their opponents when they get that Dragon Blade. Hasuab will play the Cassia instead of Nurok. Darkmok on the Karazim, and Nurok will be your Dahaka.
Yeah, Nurok on Dahaka for now. We have a bit of a switch here, and that shows again the overlap that we have in the hero pool on the side of Team Liquid, which makes them, of course, incredibly flexible with a lot of these drafts. Definitely, again, another match where Team Wish has a composition that is a bit harder to pull off, but there's a lot of potential here on their end. And that's exactly what we want from the playoffs. It comes down to the last map. We get a 5-mapper in our first playoff match between Team Wish and Team Liquid.
Already, both teams being very hesitant to move to lanes here.
I mean, we couldn't wish for a better game. Ah, come on.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how to respond back. I'm like, you know what? He just stopped it, you know? That's the cream right there. Caldor, bringing it out here.
We actually called dibs for wish puns. This is actually what we did when we heard about the first thing. That's the first thing that the player said as well. They said, like, we are really happy with the name too, because it's just pun heaven. It's like just the meme team. So yeah, Team Wish as a sponsor for Team Zella, it's definitely a big win.
Well, so far, Team Wish is looking for those kills. Wishful thinking, trying to grab that Rhaegar on the bottom side. We'll see if they can get him here as Mopsio not mounting up and being a bit too late to move it on Splendor.
Now you're just stealing my puns.
That was a good one, though.
Yeah, but I used it earlier already.
Oh, man.
Keep up, Trick. Keep up. Come on. All right. Back to the game itself. So, I mean, for now, Liquid has actually had some really cool games. And that victory on Cursed Hollow was super impressive. It was also awesome. At least for me personally, because we've seen, again, the Viking composition, and I love that they are one of the teams that can always use that as one of their pocket strategies, and it really works out for them, even though they have gone away from the Vikings a bit more. But overall, I want to see what Wish can pull off right now. Already a lot of pressure here against Blumby. And yeah, Team Wish, it's definitely the team that most people have been talking about throughout the entire phase. Them coming into HGC through the Crucible and now just being in the playoffs and doing such a good job here. It's absolutely awesome to witness this.
Team Liquid seeming to give up on the Shrine, so they can get 4 for the moment. We'll see if they move in and try to clear it out. If you look at Team Wish, they seem to have a bit better clear, mostly because they have the Greymane, but secondly because they have that Diablo that can control space very well against Team Liquid. So Team Liquid takes a chance here to grab experience instead on the bottom lane as they commit 4 members down to that lane, grabbing the turrets and getting them low. Yeah,
there's an immediate response, at least soak experience from Genji, but of course that wall is lost. And that gives Team Liquid the lead in the experience right now. We will eventually see the Punisher go over to Team Wish, at least that's to be expected at this point, with Leoric getting a few additional stacks and already increasing the amount to 30. But Liquid is willing to give up a few of those early game situations. Grand Paquete is just dodging both of the stuns on Blumby. And now all of a sudden, Nuburak is in trouble.
Yeah, Blumby using both of his engage tools there to go in for the fight. The Impale and the Burrow charge. Team Wish will counterattack with their own engages as well. Team Liquid does force a fight on the bottom side while the Punisher pushes in the middle with Leoric helping it out. Yeah, Leoric now in the mid lane with the Punisher, trying to reclaim the experience that was lost a bit earlier. And the Punisher, since nobody is baiting it over the wall even, is starting to get some solid value. Darkmok is finally making his move in, and now the fourth and the third tower can start to get some value as well. But Hazorps finds himself in a bit of a pickle. Since he's slammed over by Mopsio, he's still able to escape through the wall on the other hand. Just barely making it out there. That trait coming in, really helping against those auto attacks from Genji.
I mean, we didn't have a single kill just yet, but so far both of the teams, yeah, exactly. They've been really, really trying to get the lead here.
Well, Team Liquid was able to grab a small experience lead. Dahaka helping out, even with the Punisher being picked up, they'll be able to clear the minion experiences in the middle. But still, Team Wish just barely behind them, sticking it in and make sure to be available for the fights. As Mopsio is willing to come in for the fight on the middle side, with Darkmok and Splendor playing careful, shouldn't be able to get the engage. But they are playing on Razor's Edge.
Yeah, all of them are. Blumby again just in that rush here, making sure that he can maybe get an engage, but everybody already moved away. We have at the top lane Greymane waiting for an opportunity to put some additional pressure onto Dehaka as he's holding the experience for Team Liquid. And they're starting to really go for the wall there. Dehaka also taking a punch or two, but overall the main objective of Team Wish at the top lane is of course the structural damage.
They're off working those auto attacks, getting that Feeding Frenzy up once again so we can go in for another drag. Actually, just kidding, I'm looking at the talent here. He didn't move into the Feeding Frenzy at level 7 where you normally pick it up to get this extra drags. Instead, Symbiosis, every time Dark Swarm damages an enemy, it reduces the cooldown by a few or I believe 0.4 seconds? Yeah, 0.4 seconds there. Does synergize well with the level 13, but something that we don't normally see on Dahaka.
Also, we have Leoric falling at the top lane. He actually moved out of the fight, but he didn't account for Karazim, who made the rotation, and as he started to move back in, he was taken out. With his Consume Vitality straight into Neil Peasants, he of course has now a bit additional wave clear, but we see him with Hopelessness on level 7. So instead of gaining the movement speed, he now aims for the additional range for the fights on the shrine itself. And both of the teams now, with camp approach up to the top lane, the invade is there, and Team Wish takes over the camp. Well played. Team Liquid doing all the work, and then Team Wish simply stealing it away.
With Rhaegar and Cassie on the bottom side, Team Liquid wasn't able to contest that area. That's why the camp went over to Team Wish, and they rotate down and start working on the phase of the shrine here.
And now Dehaka has to spend the time up at the top lane to save their fort for now, the structures, before he can make his move down to the bot lane. That allows Team Wish to take control over the shrine for now. Now the lead overall has been taken a bit earlier by Team Liquid, but Team Wish is equalizing that score quite easily, and now they're all of a sudden making the play for Darkmok, who's already low, dashes out, but barely. Nuro comes in, they're trying to go for Diablo, and they get the kill. He's down, and everyone else on the side of the blue team is already retreating, but the counter kill against Karazim as finally Greymane gets an opportunity to jump in and deliver the damage.
Darkmok, those assassin senses were tingling, goes in for the fight, jumping on top of the Uther with the stun around into Poik with the Greymane, able to clean him up. No Karazim for 8 seconds, but no Diablo either. It is a full-out brawl over this Punisher. 2 more minions are needed, and Team Liquid will grab it.
Nurok low. Leoric might fall here, and actually he will. He goes down, and that's level 10, exactly as you mentioned.
Cocoon
so now we have them moving in immediately, and so far no chance to really drop the Cocoon to maybe force another death, but Zarmani needs to be really careful. He's going to respawn in a few seconds.
Fight here on the side. Darkmok does have the 7-sided strike. With Poik coming on the side, will be a little bit harder for them to get the kill. Nurok low, pops the essence. Does he have Burrow? Looks like he does not, but he's able to back up. The adaptation was actually utilized, and he's able to walk away from the fight safely and full of health. Yeah,
that was actually a really aggressive stance here by Team Wish as well, trying to get that kill before they hit level 10. But now that they have their heroic abilities, we see go for the throat, we have the Divine Shield and Dragon Blade combo, and of course also the March of the Black King. An absolutely insane tool if you consider how melee-focused Team Liquid's composition is.
Total of 4 melees if you count that Rhaegar. Cassia, man, you can even consider her slightly a melee with how low her range is.
Yeah.
They're going to continue poking on the side. Zarmani goes around for the March of the Black King, but gets killed instead.
Yeah, that was also now burning a bigger cooldown. I mean, it's going to be back in 40 seconds, so he has additional 30 after he's revived. But still, at this point, this is of course a bit annoying for him that he committed to that 2 and didn't get any value out of it. So a bit of a panic moment here. Overall, Team Liquid has now taken 4 kills against 1. And their double support comp with the aggression out of Karazim with the 7-sided as well is really working out for them. But we haven't really seen those team fights after level 10 yet. And that's of course what is going to dictate the pace of the game a bit once that we see the next Punisher on the map.
Yeah, this will continue to be strong for Team Liquid if it can have those fights that have the number advantages. And they have a tool too, Cocoon, with that being popped out, will be able to grab a 5v4 and continue to have the number of advantages, but they have to make sure they get those kills when they get the picks when they're trying to go in for the fight. Right now, it's all about soaking level 13 for Team Liquid. Team Wish is about a level behind, so they are working their best here to A, either get a fight on their opponent, or B, look for the experience through other means.
Good job here also as they take the camp to provide the vision for the fountain so they can snipe it in the mid lane. That's something that we've consistently seen from the teams here on HGC Europe, and it takes the sustain on the lane away. So without the fountain, this is definitely going to help them in the later run. But Liquid now moving into an earlier level 13, and of course with the Shrine about to be announced in just a few seconds, that's another really big win for them. The teams are just fighting over the mercenary camps for now. And as we have the top left now claimed, Shrine announced on the map, we see Team Liquid moving into Steal One away, and they basically make the same small move. They provide the vision for the, again, another shot by Hazorps, providing vision of the fountain so that the Khazra camp is just simply taking it out.
Put some damage on there, and PL will come in and finish that well off, which is important actually. The Shrine being in the middle, that means Team Wish will head to the top if they have to grab that Shrine, or of course heal from other means. Team Liquid has started the Shrine right away. With them having 13, there isn't much of a chance that Team Wish is going to come in and force this fight. And remember, this is an arcane Punisher, one of the strongest ones you can have.
Well, I would actually say Wish is going to go in and take this now. They have 13, so at this point, they are willing to take this fight. They should be. There's only too many stacks on the side of Team Liquid. You can still fight this. It's still about who wins the team fight, who gets the kill. So right now, they're closing the gap, and they are waiting for Dehaka to make his move. Poik also completing his quest on 7. That's big for the fight as well. And they are starting to move in already. 7-sided being used. Here comes the APOC, and we have no March just yet, but Divine Shield and Dragon Blade have been utilized.
Still dodge there. Team Liquid dealing with the Dragon Blade that comes their way. Darkmonk's getting low. He dashes to Blumby. Still low. Mopsio would charge forward and finish him off. At the same time, Poik getting caught in the top left corner. Drag comes out, but Grimpa will save him with both a heal and a stun.
That cocktail nearly dropped Hazorps. Such an aggressive play once again, and they're going in and trying to take it. Cocktail after cocktail. They go for the Arcane Punisher. They actually take it, and they nearly confirm another kill. So far, only Karazim has fallen in that fight, but Team Wish had an opportunity there several times to increase that kill count even further.
They still get the win on the Punisher, though, even being behind moving into it, being a little bit on the lag fest when it comes to 13, and they're able to grab all of the minions, get the fort in the middle. The Punisher continues to charge forward, and it'll work on the keep wall. Team Wish taking a slight experience lead for the first time in this game. They're also working on bottom side.
Their team fight potential is definitely increasing by the minute, especially since on 13, Leoric now has picked up Ominous Wrath, and that is the main talent for him with this build. This is the talent that we've been highlighting so much over the last few weeks, ever since his rework, and of course with Royal Focus, it's even going to increase. And also, because of that low range on Cassia, she's sometimes even considered a melee, as we said. Like, it's basically 5 melees on their side. It's so easy to connect with her. So just decreasing the damage amount of all of these heroes that we see from Team Liquid is going to be very easy for Leoric in the upcoming fights. So them being on eye level with Team Liquid as they're heading into level 15, 16 now, it's just amazing for Team Wish when it comes to teamfight potential.
It's incredible also to me how the Apocalypse actually did not connect with anyone on Team Liquid, but what happened is it did force them into a spot where they dodged out onto it, where 2 to 3 did stack up naturally. That's where that Dragon Blade got that extra fight, and we saw the Karazim, Darkmonk, just get focused down.
This is actually oftentimes a really big argument in favor of Apocalypse as well. It depends very much on the map and in which situation you use it, but even if you don't connect with the Apocalypse, depending on the spot where it's being used, it can gain value just by you forcing the opponent's team to try and dodge it. So there might be an isolated target just because you had to try and move into a certain direction to avoid getting stun locked, and that alone can guarantee a kill for you. So right now, the teams are both going to head into level 16. The fight over the next Punisher is going to happen on even talents, but I'm a little bit afraid for Team Liquid because the big power spike that we see for Team Wish is going to be absolutely insane. First of all, Diablo getting like his resets, that's going to be a crazy boost with domination. Then we're having on top of that Royal Focus for Leoric. We have the doubles with Benediction. This is a massive power spike for them, way bigger than Team Liquid's.
Team Liquid forcing this fight before. Leoric is not here yet, but Team Wish still turns around the fight, and they will kill Dahaka. Apocalypse getting utilized as well. Flumby getting lower and lower on health. He gets popped up, and Team Wish takes a 4v5. Granted, they had a talent advantage, and they turn it around and win.
Yeah, they turn it around. They take the 4 versus 5. Now they're going to get another kill. There's the slows, and goodbye, Cassia. A triple kill for Team Wish just as that shrine activates on the map. As I said before, that 16 is such an insane power spike for them in particular. Their heroes benefit from this talent way more than Team Liquid does right now, and this really shows. So we have the cooldown reduction, we have them moving in, they only leave Leoric on the shrine. We have at the top left a bit of a sneaky backdoor in camp by Team Liquid. There's very little to do on the map, so it's actually a worthy attempt. The problem is that in the meantime, Team Wish is getting way more value.
So that camp will be on the top side. It will push in, but you're right, Team Liquid is going to be in a spot where they have to defend the Punisher on the bottom side while also dealing with the Mercs in the middle. Dahako should be able to handle that, but Team Liquid starting to run out of opportunities here to get back in the game. This Punisher should be jumping in, and it should be cleared up pretty easily, but the next Punisher, they might not be as lucky.
But this one should get a keep.
You think it will get the keep if they pull it over?
I mean, they have all their heroics. Well, they will have... Nah, they don't. They have Divine Shield. It moves in a bit late. They should have, if they can just stall it out a little bit, they should actually be able to use all the heroics, and I think they should get the keep here, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, they're moving in here. Punisher is on top of the keep. Team Liquid has decided to move in for the fight, but oh my, Cassia gets burned down, and she's the main damage here for Team Liquid. That is a horrible loss.
They could go for the game right now. They have Divine Shield, Dragon Blade. They can get a few more kills. There comes the Ancestral, barely coming through. Apoc hits the stun against Bloomby. He's low. The keep is down. If another one dies, it might be lights out here. It's a massive problem. Punisher already on the core, and Team Wish is moving in. They need to be careful. If they get wiped on core, that will be a disaster, but if they can get another kill, they can make the game now.
Team Liquid may get knocked out of the playoffs here. If Zealous can go for the core, they move in, and they're able to pick up a Rhaegar, and they also will pick up a Dahaka as well. 3 targets falling. Kerosene 2. Team Wish comes out in this first game in the playoffs, and they grab 3 wins to get the win, and Team Liquid falls out. Team Wish advances.
Team Wish takes the game. They execute the combo here, and Team Liquid falls in the first playoff game. Bootcamp or no bootcamp, Wish just too strong today.
Team Wish able to win today, and a lot of people were cheering from Dark Horse, as you mentioned, and they barely do it over Team Liquid. What do you got to say on that match?
You know,
I'm a happy camper, honestly. I did abandon
You abandoned them in the last
I said Liquid
match.
had a chance at that last. And to be fair, like the play we'll go into in a little bit, like we get to sort of pick apart when Liquid sort of fell apart in the game. It was pretty clear, but honestly, Wish played so well.
Yeah.
Like, especially Grandpa on the supports.
Yeah, coming in with the Divine
really,
Shield
really
on the
good.
Cocoon on the
on
bottom
the Cocoon,
side.
that was super good too. Like the way he positioned was just enough so that he couldn't get zoned by the front line of the enemy team, and he got that D-Shield in, and Genji had deflect. So it ended up like they mitigated enough damage off of Team Liquid, the play they made, and just counter-engaged perfectly. We can actually go into the clip right now, and when Blumby hits the Cocoon, the positioning around Team Liquid, I think, could have been a little bit more aggressive. If we pause right here, we're able to highlight that Greymane is able to survive because Uther got in range of the D-Shield. That keeps him up. And now this is Wish's opportunity to say, hey, Team Liquid, you used a lot of cooldowns. It's our turn to counter-initiate. So as we go into this clip, we see the D-Shield allows Greymane to get into a position where he can safely deal damage. Cassia hits a big blind, but the thing is, Dahaka just got deleted. And this counter-engage right here is the tipping point for me at which Wish just wins the game. They had really good awareness from the support to the damage dealer to keep him alive, and then from the frontline perspective, Mopsio had a really good counter initiation.
Now, here's the big question. As we see Leoric coming in, you can of course provide the slows to get another kill, and I absolutely agree. At that point, you know this is snowballing. Do you think that Team Liquid felt forced to go into that fight because they realized that the 16 power spike was just so much harder for Team Wish that in a 5 versus 5 battle on the Shrine, they basically cannot win unless there's a big mistake on the side of Team Wish?
It's honestly one of those situations where it's like Team Liquid sees an opportunity to just get a big advantage in the game, get that side lane pick off, because you see a Nubrock use the E, use the Q, and then ultimately use the Cocoon on Greymane. And it's just these circumstances where you overcommit trying to secure that advantage. It's a risky play, and then they got punished because of the Uther. So I definitely think that part of it may have been like a panic-induced, oh, I see a play, we got to try for it, which is completely justifiable. Sometimes plays don't work out, but I think that was their thought process.
Yeah, so you feel that on 16 levels, they would have had a disadvantage fighting for the shrine?
I think so, especially with the team fight-oriented composition. Leoric slowly starts to become more of a powerhouse later in the game and things like that. Greymane, once he finishes cocktail build too, you get complete control over the shrine.
Yeah, we saw that in the fight before. That was absolutely insane how much he just completed the quest as the shrine fight starts, and then I think he gets
convenient.
He gets, I think, 2 cocktails out, and those nearly, I mean, Cassia nearly fell to the second one, so that was incredible how much damage he pushed out.
It changes the Cassia Greymane matchup for sure once you finish the quest.
Well, Team Wish gets a big victory today over at Team Liquid. And that means tomorrow we have Team Wish versus Tricked Esport. That's going to be a match that's very exciting to see. Tricked Esport has been a little bit inconsistent as of late, but they're still one of these teams here that if Alex Aprogi and crew come in and they are feeling like they have a solid understanding of the meta going into it, they'll be scary.
Tricked is an interesting team for sure, because they switched, by the way, back. Yeah. They have now Rema Baller again on the main tank.
Of course.
They really love to do that. They have their 2 tank players, and it's always the question, okay, who plays the off tank, who plays the main tank, who plays the shot caller, who doesn't. So apparently they are back to the roots now, for now at least. But yeah, it's definitely a team that has a ton of potential, and they have their inconsistency, which is a big problem for them. And as they themselves say, if they have an on day, they can beat anybody. If they're a little bit off, then it's going to be a bit of a disaster. But now that Team Wish is going through, that's definitely going to make for a very entertaining match
for both of our teams here. Let's go ahead and check out the playoff bracket as we have it updated with Team Wish getting their win over Team Liquid. So Team Liquid is out. They'll go ahead and continue to have their 6th spot here in the standings. Team Wish moves forward to face off against Tricked Esport. Now tomorrow we'll watch that match, and this will all finish on Sunday, as the winner will face off against Team Expert.
I also want to highlight again how insane it is that Team Liquid finishes 6th in the league.
That's insane.
Because we've been I know we've been talking sometimes about them potentially ending up in the Crucible, and there was actually a chance for that to happen. But if you think about this entire year now, Phase 1 nearly undefeated. Just at the end of
they were the team to beat.
Exactly, and just at the end of Phase 1, they all of a sudden started losing. Don't make it to the mid-season brawl. Then at the other time, we have the Western Clash, where it's like, okay, they are starting to come back
Resurgence,
here, and then they fall off again. And right now, the team that most predicted, like most post team, as we're heading from the Western Clash into Phase 2, everybody is saying like, into the second part of Phase 2, everyone's saying like, okay, Team Liquid is going to be the team to go to BlizzCon as well, and now they're 6th in the standings. That is insane.
Pretty ridiculous there, especially with a lot of teams saying in scrims that they've picked it up a lot here. Now, let's go ahead and talk to the Uther that had the Divine Shield that was almost game-winning for the team. Grandpa is actually here. Grandpa, congratulations, man. You guys get a victory on day 1 in the playoffs. How is the team feeling?
Oh, pretty good. I think we will win tomorrow again.
Just like that, you're going to come out there and be like, hey, we got a victory, but we're looking tomorrow. We're going to win it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I think we're done with the interview.
Okay, we're done with the interview. Over to Caldor.
Run us a little bit through the series. I mean, of course, we have already seen how everything went down on the last map, but were you guys a little bit worried after Liquid comes back on Cursed Hollow and pushes you on the 5th map? Was there a lot of nerf issues as well?
Especially the way they won on Curse, pretty dominant with the Vikings pick. We started to be like, oh, maybe we cannot make it. But then we got the draft we wanted on Infernal, and we knew that as long as we played decent, we are going to win. And we pretty much did it.
What were your personal expectations when you were heading into the series?
I expected to win 3-1, 3-2, like pretty much what we did.
Okay, what do you expect for tomorrow?
I expect a 3-0.
Okay.
Dang.
Galarong, you got anything to ask?
Yeah, so it's been a while since we last got to hang out. I think it was like Seattle like 2, maybe 3 years ago. I want to hang out, man. Are you going to make it to BlizzCon?
I Let's go step by step. Tomorrow we will win against Strict, and then Sunday versus Expert, we will see.
Okay, that's good. It's a good enough answer for me, man. Hopefully I get to see you there.
Well, Grandpa, before I let you go, because you've already said they're going to beat Trick tomorrow, and that's what's going to be my next question. Any shout-outs to anyone at home that is consistently cheering for you guys?
Yeah, I want to say thanks for everyone that is cheering for us, like on the chat, on Twitter, on Reddit. Like, thanks to everyone, and especially I would like to thank Wish.com for the opportunity to represent them as an organization. And if you have some time to purchase things, it's a really, really amazing place to shop.
Awesome. Well, Team Wish coming in here, getting a victory on this Friday against Team Liquid. Huge congratulations for them, but their weekend is not done. Tomorrow, they will face off against Strict Esport. We've already talked about it, but Grandpa, he came in and he talked about it right away. He thinks we're going to get the 3-0.
3-0. That confidence. I love it. But then what's hilarious is he wasn't showing that same confidence towards Expert.
Like, step by step.
But still, it's great.
I can't wait to see the reactions on Twitter and social media in general later on from Tricked. I'm sure we have a couple of nice tweets for tomorrow that we can show, because I cannot imagine that someone like Alex listens to that and just lets it slide without commentating.
All right, Alex, you got some homework. Let us know on Twitter what you think of Grandpa's statement. That's going to be it here on this Friday here on HGC Europe. The playoffs will continue tomorrow, so make sure to tune in. Up next, North America coming at you.
Serious power spike.